Elephant's toothpaste, you're going to need the following materials. You're going to need some spoons to measure out with, some food coloring, it can be anything, but this is optional. Food coloring is optional. You need some dish soap, which I have here. You need like a bottle, a plastic bottle, anything will do. You need 3% hydrogen peroxide. You'll see that it's like 3% right here. And you'll need some dry yeast, which can be found at Safeway or anywhere that carries like baking goods. And you'll need a measuring cup. So the first step is to put out a half cup of hydrogen peroxide into your measuring cup, and then you're going to pour that into the bottle. So just give me a second, I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. I have put the hydrogen peroxide into the bottle that we're going to be using. So now we're going to put some dish soap into the bottle. So just one big squirt will do. So actually, let's do two. Two will be better. Alright, cool. So the next step is to add some food coloring if you have it. This step's optional, so I'm just gonna add a couple of drops of the food coloring to the mixture. 2, 3, 4. Right. Should be good. Okay, so the next step is to get 3 tablespoons of warm water, and that's right in there. And you're gonna mix that with 1 tablespoon of yeast. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna show you guys right after. So we're just gonna stir this up. So it's 1 tablespoon of yeast and 3 tablespoons of hot water. I'm just gonna stir this up with one of the spoons real quick. Yeah, it's gonna become pretty clunky, so you just wanna make sure that you're stirring for about 30 seconds. Yeah, so I'll be right back once I have it stirred. Mixture of water and yeast, and you wanna make sure that there's nothing really around it, so I'm gonna move that right before doing it. So yeah, we're gonna pour this in and see how it reacts. All right, so I moved everything, and now we're gonna see how this goes. So let me pour this in. Oh, look at that. It's bubbling up. Check that out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Whoa. It almost looks like elephant's toothpaste. So yeah, that's pretty much the experiment, guys. If you have any questions, just reach out to us. We'll help you guys through. So yeah, I'm gonna have to clean that up, but yeah, isn't that cool? Cool. All right, thank you.
Wow, that was a cool experiment. Now let me explain why it happens. So, in the elephant toothpaste reaction, it is important to understand what hydrogen peroxide is, because that is used as one of the substances in this reaction. Hydrogen peroxide is a molecule with the chemical formula H2O2, meaning there's 2 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms in this molecule. And this undergoes a decomposition reaction into water, which has the formula H2O, and oxygen gas, which is why you see bubbles come out of the solution. But this is a relatively slow reaction, so a catalyst is needed in this reaction. When you add the yeast, this contains either sodium iodide or potassium iodide, and this acts as a catalyst. A catalyst is something that increases the rate of reaction by providing alternate pathways for the reactant molecules. So, when the catalyst is added, the hydrogen peroxide decomposes faster, meaning a burst of oxygen bubbles are created, which is why it bubbles out of solution so fast, as you see in the elephant toothpaste. Without the presence of a catalyst, this would happen much slower, and a lot less bubbles would come out quickly. So you wouldn't have a whole eruption of bubbles. And another thing you may have noticed is that it got hotter as the reaction occurred. And this is because it's an exothermic reaction. An exothermic reaction is a reaction in which the heat of the surroundings are increased. So what did we learn today? We learned that hydrogen peroxide has the formula H2O2 and that it decomposes into water and oxygen gas. We also learned that a catalyst is something that speeds up a reaction by providing alternate pathways for the reactant molecules. And we also learned that an exothermic reaction is one that increases the heat of the surroundings. So I hope you guys had fun and that you learned something as well.
Hello everyone, so now that you've actually done the experiment and you've learned the science with Mr. Merritt behind the experiment, let's talk about the real world applications. Now, elephant toothpaste doesn't have a ton of applications, obviously, unless you want to count doing it on a super large scale and posting on YouTube like David Dobrik and making a ton of money. Then I guess that's one. But like you learned with Mr. Merritt, that the actual reaction is a decomposition reaction, and those have a lot of real life applications. Now, one of these is when you open a soda can, hydrogen carbonate inside of the bottle turns into water and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the bubbles that you see coming out of the can. Another real life application is when you bake a cake, sodium bicarbonate turns into sodium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. Another one is when you have hydrogen peroxide, which is one of the materials that we used in this experiment. That is always kept in a dark bottle because when it is exposed to light, it turns into water and oxygen, rendering it useless. Now, these are just some, but there are many other applications of decomposition reactions. Now, have a good day and make good life decisions.